guys, welcome to another video. Apparently to be a YouTuber, I have to use cheapest in USA. I'm gonna step it up and say cheapest in the world. It's either the cheapest in the USA clean title, or you have to buy a salvage supercar to actually become a YouTuber full time. That's actually in a contract guidelines. But anyways, with this car, I really do actually think it's like the cheapest. No, like seriously, like I'm not saying that for views or like attention, whatever, but like it actually might be, and that's really the reason I went with it. I wanted an exotic, I wanted a Gallardo manual. I want a manual really badly, just because if it comes in a manual, I want it. But the thing is, the mods weren't there. Like, I'm gonna get a car, and obviously modifying these cars is insanely expensive. The parts for these cars are insanely expensive. The maintenance for these cars are insanely expensive. That's obviously no brainer, quite honestly. That's the thing. People think they could buy this car, then they can't afford maintenance, just like the GTR. I got this car for $56,000 US dollars. Convert that to euros, convert that to whatever you want. Usually America has the cheapest car pricing in the world, so I just assume it's cheapest in the world. This is a clean title 2008 R8 4.2 V8, and it has 28,000 miles on the dashboard. And it is a gated manual, which is a solid 5 to 10K more usually in the resale market. It's funny because brand new, the E-Gear was more than the manual. The manual, obviously the manual is always more limited production, just like the new Porsche 911 turbos as well. So in 10 years, when all the cars for sale are automatics, the manuals are always worth way more. That's just the truth of it. And then this thing has a Hefner V8 twin turbo kit on it for the 4.2. They also make kits for the V10, and they do a lot of Huracan 4GT Aventador turbo kits as well. You can see the turbo there, main exhaust, and then the two wastegates get routed into this, into an X pipe. Then it comes out, and this turbo kit, and I actually googled it, apparently people buy this as a package with installation. Just for the parts alone, I found on Hefner's website it's $35,000 right now. When it came out, it was probably more. It might have been 40 or 45, because usually, you know, this is a first gen R8, so now there's second and third gen R8s, and people are modifying those now. So price has definitely gone down. Apparently to install this thing, to buy the kit and have them install it, it was something like $50,000, which is insane to think, because that's basically what I paid for this entire car to own it. Second thing is, it has a PPI Razor GTR wide body. No, I'm literally not saying that. Ironically, it's literally called a Razor GTR. I'm not kidding. It's actually what it's called. That's a limited run production carbon wide body, and that's valued around $15,000. This one is in definitely way worse condition, simply because it has a lot of cracks. I've never actually seen a kit that had so many cracks before, but I will show you that when I unload that U-Haul. But it has this entire front hood piece, because if you don't know, the hood and the fender is a one piece on the R8. It opens up, so it has like a waterfall vent, but it's not a real vent. Like, it's not an actual vent, because then water would go in your trunk. But I guess if you're doing a race car and you do a vertical mount radiator, that's what it's for. It has the front bumper. It's missing the lip on my kit. This isn't it, obviously. This is just OEM, because he said it ripped off while he was going fast. It has these pieces that are a little bit wider, and it's about like an inch wide body. It's about 25 mil. It's nothing crazy, because this car's already so wide. Side skirts, as you can see right there. This is a V10 side blade, because I believe the V8, I don't know, I really don't know what differentiated it. If you'd like to comment and correct me, I really don't know, you know, legit all the parts. But it came with this quarter panel as well that had this vent. I don't think the R8 had this stock, this vent. It's not a real vent, but I'm sure you can cut it out. But I don't think that's stock. But then there's flares, which is very, very weird how this body is made, because it's literally a fender flare that goes like this. But like, if you're selling the carbon and you're selling this piece, why wouldn't you just sell it molded? So you actually have to mold it. So I have to mold it, which makes it very hard to keep the carbon look, because if you're molding it, even if you're using carbon overlay, you're gonna see the pieces of carbon that molded it. So like, the goal with a carbon panel is this is all one sheet, so it looks really nice and flows. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. And same thing for the front hood, is on that aftermarket hood, there's actually flares that go over this as well, which is quite interesting. Once again, don't know why it's not just molded, because all it is this. So I really don't understand, for such an expensive kit, why it's just not done that way. It's as if they want you to do more body work. And I do have a rear bumper, for those of you that ask. I have one OEM quarter panel. I have obviously the OEM front hood, which is actually, I would say, perfect condition, besides the fact that I think it has a scratch right there. But as far as I can see, this has no dings. And I'm sure this hood alone could probably sell for $2,000. And same thing with the OEM front bumper as well. So I can easily make back a good, amount of money when it comes to modifying this thing. When it comes to the rear bumper, it has a rear bumper, the carbon one, and it has the OEM one. I'll see about that. It has the OEM trunk that goes over here, which I'm gonna put on. It had a Liberty Walk GTR wing, as you guys saw, which is in the trunk. I bought it. I don't know if I'm gonna sell it or not, because it's like a $4,000 wing for an R35 GTR. I don't know, it looked good on this thing, but then once we took off the wing for the drive home, I thought it looked better, especially if I just cover all of that. It is a very nice car, and I don't know, do you guys think it's worth it? Because price-wise, it seems, it seems literally, if I were to take off the turbo kit and sell the wide body and just make this OEM, I could probably walk away with like $80,000 or $90,000. I didn't get this to make money, because if I did, it's very good at that. We'll see. That's the good thing about this car, is usually I can get what I paid into it and more, because that's the thing with exotics, unlike my S2000 where I put $6,000 into it with wheels, hardtop, wide body, other modifications of the turbo kit. I can't even get any of that back. I've literally been trying to sell the S2000, and people don't even want to pay almost what I paid for it, like almost stock. So, but this is the interior. I do have the door panel inside. I'll explain that in a second. Here's the interior. It's for the most part good, besides the seats. The seats are absolutely horrible, like horrible condition. I have no idea how. Is this drugged? I have no idea how the seat is this bad, because the one in my S2000 from a car from 2001 is better than this. And that seat is also torn on the bottom, and the airbag over here deployed, because that's where it was T-boned. But that is a new door. Basically, I don't care that much. These seats can probably be reupholstered. Yes, they're very comfortable. But the thing is, I want two-piece Recaro seats, like the nice luxury ones, because I think that would fit this Euro car super well. I would not do a bucket seat in a exotic. I think that's silly, but like those two-piece nice Recaro, I don't even know the name, but maybe one of you guys will point it out. And the only other thing about the interior is the R8 little thing emblem is missing. So seriously, if one of you can hop on eBay, I really have not looked, but if you can literally just find me this little emblem piece that goes in there, that would really help, because that's really what I'm missing on the interior. It has the trim pieces for there. I have the full door panel, which I'm going to put on today because I need the window to be able to roll up and down. And then the only other annoying part about this car, so basically since this full body was carbon, what they tried to do was do an overlay on it. And the overlay basically means is they basically tried to put carbon over it, a sheet of it, and then drown it in resin. And what happens is all the resin you can sand and block to get this smooth finish right here. And then you have an imitate, like this is still steel and protective and crash rated, but it looks carbon. It's not a real carbon door. That's what they were going for. I believe the guy said it came out bad, so they were sanding it all down. But also the really annoying thing, which I have to fix, was the door handles are shaved. If you guys know, an R8 has a handle like this and it just folds out. And this one was glued together and molded. So I think I'm gonna have to take like a 20 grit sand disc and sand this down until I can see the lines of the door handle, and basically take a flathead and like crack the glue, because I would really like a normal door handle, because right now the way I'm opening this is literally using the linkage and pulling it, and that's very silly, because yeah, that's my biggest problem right now, is getting in and out of the car. Like while we were moving it around, I couldn't open the door myself because it doesn't have a door card on the inside, so people would have to open it from the outside. But yeah, that's the problem. I'm gonna go unload the U-Haul, because I'm actually gonna go return that U-Haul right now. And then Shane, who did the entire 20-hour drive with me, he's gonna be coming here with my S2000 because I left it at his house. parts. Here's the hood. Awesome piece. Very light. It is pure carbon. What looks like happened actually is basically it like flew open on him. That's what looks like what happened, because you can see this is all absolutely shredded. Yeah, I could fix this. Just take a grinder and remove a lot of the material and then just build it up again with fiberglass. Just because at this point you'd have to relay this entire hood if you want that carbon look, which is a bummer, but you know, whatever, stuff happens. Same thing with that side. As you can see, this is one of that flare isn't on, but this flare is on. And you see that? It's held on by double-sided tape. Like, I've actually never, like, it's such an expensive wide body. Why don't they just sell it like this already molded? It's crazy. But rear fender liners, R35 GTR wing, T-bone door, which I actually just need for this, what do I need it for? I need it for the trim, actually, that's on the inside. Carbon rear bumper, has titanium tips, which you can actually see over there on that bumper. Door panel, a lot of random interior panels, I guess, are missing in the trunk and in the rear. Carbon front bumper, carbon rear things, carbon rear arches. The OEM actually wing that comes with this kit, which is a lot more nicer looking than that one. I'll show you a lot of the lights that it throws. I'll tell you which ones it actually throws and which ones it doesn't. Just basically, if I were to start this thing, the TPMS is on, the tire pressure monitoring system. That's on a lot of cars, so I don't really care. The gas gauge, he said the sensor, the level sensor, is unplugged. So I've had cars before that don't have gas gauges, or like they weren't working, so I can deal with that. I'll get to that later. So as you can see down here, the sports mode struts or whatever, I think they're electric dampening and they stiffen the dampening. That does not work because there's a fail code on the dash for that. For the wing, as you know, there's a little wing stock that goes up and down that is on the dashboard as well, because this doesn't have the wing. He took it off because he had an aftermarket wing. It didn't come with the wing, so that's just not there. And then it has a check engine light, which to my knowledge is for intake sensors, because there's on the turbo kit, they do still have sensors on the intakes, but it doesn't throw it into limp mode. It doesn't cause it to run weird, because I was still going to redline in all the gears during the test drive and I wasn't getting any misfires or anything like that, so that part seemed fine. And then it also throws up here the oil sensor. Yeah, the oil sensor. I really don't know what that is. That's probably for oil pressure, which is probably a sensor that isn't even plugged in, because if it had no oil pressure, it would have blown up by now, because I've driven it like 300 miles already. Oil temperature gauge does work, and the coolant temperature works. And it's right here, the coolant temperature. It gets to the middle and it stays there perfectly. The oil gets to about 210 to the other mark, so 210 to 240, and it stays there, which is I think fine, because you know it's 110 degrees here and it did fine. The voltage stays at about right underneath like the 14 mark. But the main issue here, and seriously, if any of you know, or like Audi techs worked on these cars, own these cars, rewired them, it's very hard to find information on this, because if you type Audi R8, all you get is like jalopnik, you know, articles that are like, oh, cheapest supercar to own, blah blah blah. Like you know, it's like stuff that doesn't involve working on the car, and it's very, very hard to find information, because most of the people that own these cars, if anything happens, they just take it to the dealership. That's not helpful to me in any sort of way. But basically, while I'm driving, and it will take 40-50 minutes for this to happen, it seems like the car goes into an electrical limp mode, where the cruise control gets shut off. I can't turn it on or off or anything. The radio can turn off at times completely and then reboot after a minute or two, but the climate control, it would just turn off completely. And I was driving and I had the AC on, which works perfectly well, and it just shut off, and it's as if the heat came back on. And the thing is, if there was a wiring shortage or wires touching, it would happen all the time. But like I'm saying, like I drive 30 to 40 minutes with it perfectly fine, and then it happens. And then, you know, it starts beeping every 20 seconds and then it goes away, but I still don't have cruise control, but I have climate control and radio. So apparently this thing does have some kind of low voltage issue, and they said that's because it has an aftermarket battery, but I don't think that's the case, because I read on the forums and there's a lot of people that replace the batteries with aftermarket batteries, so I don't really understand. Like they literally got their last AutoZone batteries and they have no issue at all, because the OEM battery is $800. So I was probably just going to do a hard reset on this car. If anyone has any kind of ideas what that could be, please do let me know. So guys, that was a quick overview of the Audi, the cheap Audi, which I think is, like I said, cheapest bad condition Audi R8. I've already had offers made of like $10,000+ over what I bought this for, so that's good. Doesn't mean I'm going to sell it or anything like that. That just means at least I know what I got was actually worth a lot more. If people are willing to offer more. We have a long road ahead, and please be sure to subscribe to this channel if you're interested in this kind of stuff. I also do have the S2000. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to be finishing it or what's going to be happening with it, but either way, I definitely might do like a tow run in the canyons with both of these cars and see how they compare. Have my friend drive one of them or something like that. But thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.